First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Good evening and welcome to First at 5 from WUFT News. I'm Jacob Sedesse.
And I'm Mistie Webb. Thank you for joining us. The U.S. government reached its $31.4 trillion debt limit today, raising fears of an economic train wreck to come.
As NBC's Drew Petromo explains, the political fight over spending could make it hard to find a solution.
As the U.S. blew past its $31.4 trillion debt limit, Democrats and Republicans are poised for a fight that could damage the nation's economy.
This is about the United States meeting its bedrock commitments as a country and as a nation.
In order to pay for tax cuts and government spending already approved by Congress, lawmakers must increase the debt limit. Republicans, now in control of the U.S. House, are pushing to tie the increase to spending cuts.
Just extending the credit card to continue spending recklessly is not in the interest of the American people.
But the White House and congressional Democrats say reckless is using the debt limit as a bargaining chip. In a statement, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said it's clear who will actually pay the price for gratuitous partisan politics: American families. The last fight over the debt limit in 2011 caused stocks to fall and mortgage rates to surge, even though a deal was eventually reached. And this time, analysts fear newly empowered hardliners in the Republican Party will prevent Congress from acting.
This one feels worse. These people are more dug in, more determined to extract major concessions than any of the other ones I've watched go by.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the extraordinary measures she's taking will allow the government to continue paying its bills until June. If a deal is not in place after that, the U.S. could default on its debt, triggering massive job losses, plunging 401ks, and increasing the cost of borrowing.
I would not be concerned about a financial crisis.
For now, lawmakers on both sides are expressing confidence the debt ceiling will be raised before default happens.
Gainesville City Commissioners voted not to repeal the near doubling of their own salaries. It didn't go over well with many of the taxpayers in the room. Here's just one interaction I saw that came after the vote.
You had your opportunity to vote. I'm going to, Ms. Martinez, I voted against the motion. That's what you wanted to hear.
Yep.
So there you
I
go.
wanted to know who all voted. I don't really care about you.
Commissioners voted back in October to align salaries with a formula created by the state legislature. Proponents of the raise argue that it will allow commissioners to treat the job as full-time, encourage more diverse candidates to run, and mitigate external influences. Its opponents argue the commission already makes more than commissioners in other cities like Gainesville, where the mayor has less power. The repeal, led by Commissioner Ed Book, failed with only 2 votes in favor. Before this change, raises were based on Consumer Price Index, including a 9% raise awarded back in December. The ordinance does not go into effect until October 1st.
Gainesville's Equity Director calls for community-wide action starting with city government staff. Interim Director Zariah Folson plans to roll out training for top leadership and work down. At the moment, the equity training is voluntary for city employees. In his presentation yesterday, Folson also mentioned creating strategies to address equity issues and city policies.
An Alabama man is accused of kidnapping and assaulting a woman in downtown Gainesville. Gainesville police arrested Andrew Myers late Monday night. A woman told police she met Myers at a bar on Southeast 1st Street, and her vision became blurry after he bought her drinks. The victim reported that Myers took her to a van where she passed out and woke up to him forcing himself onto her. She got away with the help of a friend searching for her. The friend was able to get photos of the van's license plate.
WUFT's Derrah Getter joins us now with the weather forecast.
Derrah, will we finally start seeing some colder temperatures?
We won't be seeing significantly cooler temperatures like we have in the past. Here is where that cold front is right now, and you can see a thin band of some showers following alongside it. We are expecting these showers to move into our area later on tonight, and you can see those clouds building up already outside on your campus cam. Some pretty dense cloud cover, lots of overcast. It feels like 75 out with gusts up to 25 miles per hour due to those southwesterly winds, which has kept our temperatures fairly warm earlier today. You can see within the next couple of hours, several chances for rain this evening and later on tonight. It is going to be in the mid-50s tonight. I'll have more on that coming up in my full forecast. Back to you.
Thanks, Derrah. Florida is a fishing hotspot many anglers flock to explore the waters. WUFT's Elena Barrera is here with us after spending the day on the St. John's riverfront. Elena.
It was a beautiful day out there on the water, learning about the fishing scene and why people just can't seem to get enough. Palatka is known as the bass capital of the world. It's spawning season or breeding time, and that means the area is baiting up to reel them in.
For many, Florida and fishing go hand in hand. Local fisherman James Shaw can't remember a time he wasn't fishing.
About the time I could talk, you know, I mean, hold a fishing pole. Probably didn't know too much about it, you know, but yeah, I fished with my dad. My dad was a charter boat captain.
Fishing enthusiasts like Shaw have to keep up with conservation efforts. Putnam County has numerous critical wetland regions according to the St. John's Water Management District. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission manages roughly 80 bodies of water across the state. In these areas, some fishing gear is prohibited and boats can even be searched. The FWC regulates size, weight, and amount of fish people can keep.
But people take them anyway, and people sell them and eat them anyway.
On beautiful days such as this, local fishermen are chomping at the bit to get out on the water. I've been here all morning in the Riverfront Park talking to these fishermen, and it seems as though the restrictions they feel do not really affect their day-to-day fishing.
They don't bother you. We come down here and go fishing, and everybody, sometimes the dock is full of fishing, you know. But I'm the one usually just where I know where the fish at.
And this bass season, she's preparing for the prize catch.
And once again, Palatka is known as the bass capital of the world. It's home to many professional fishing tournaments.
Thanks, Elena. Cases of internet crimes against children are on the rise, including some high-profile cases right here in North Central Florida.
WUFT's Chris Will gives us an inside look at the group in charge of investigating those crimes when we get back.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. An update now on the Jalen Kitna case. After being charged with possession and distribution of child porn images, Kitna is out on bail at home in Texas, but his judge in Alachua County recently agreed he can have supervised internet access. His lawyers asked for the change for Kitna's email and coursework. The judge says all access must be monitored by a company called remote.com.
And with all that happens online and all the access for anyone with a phone or computer, how do authorities even begin to investigate who has done exactly what? WUFT's Chris Will spent time with the experts and joins us now. Chris, what did you learn?
Yeah, Jacob, the network to fight these crimes can be very extensive. On the front lines of fighting child porn, you'll find ICAC teams. ICAC stands for Internet Crimes Against Children, and there's one task force based right here in Gainesville with 60 more nationwide. If you take a close look, though, you'll see that they face an incredible challenge. The internet, always on, connecting me with you and millions of others.
We are always operating 2 steps behind because of the way that the internet works.
Crimes happening behind closed doors, buried in the depths of the World Wide Web.
We rely upon parents, kids, and these companies, the tech companies themselves, to monitor and report things that they become concerned about.
A watchful eye, a helpful tip. A catalyst that uncovers possible wrongdoing investigated by these men and women. The Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force.
So our focus is preventing and investigating the online exploitation of children.
But the internet is global.
I think the biggest thing is people need to realize it happens everywhere in every community.
Which makes catching these criminals even harder.
The issues of child exploitation online are only growing and they're probably only, unfortunately, going to get worse.
Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, better known as ICAC, fights internet-based crimes with the National Network of Law Enforcement Agencies. Of the 61 federally funded units spread across the United States, Gainesville serves as the headquarters for North Florida. And the extent of that network stretches from big tech companies all the way to local police departments. For example, a social media giant like Facebook receives a report about an image on its platform. It would then send that tip to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They then look into the case to see where the individual or group might reside. And if the crime does occur in North Florida, the contact is the ICAC headquarters at GPD. Investigators like Christopher King then determine the proper county and contact the specific department to assign them the case. Cases like the one of Jalen Kitna. The 19-year-old's arrest came after a Discord account believed to belong to the former University of Florida quarterback was flagged by the online platform.
It used to be years ago that there was the stranger danger concern, and it's the creepy-looking van that drives by in the neighborhood. when actuality is that your child has a much and far greater chance of being exploited online than anything happening in person.
A statement from the Gainesville Police Department revealed that Kitna believed the images to be legal and that his Discord account was deactivated. It's the latest in an alarming trend for ICAC in North Central Florida. After receiving just under 2,000 tips in 2017, that number has quadrupled in just 5 years, totaling nearly 8,000 tips in 2022.
If you wanted to list 5 sites that you're familiar with, I could probably tell you that we've received cyber tips from those providers.
With the bulk of investigations being under what King calls the age questionable range.
The unfortunate reality is a lot of our actionable investigations tend to be prepubescent children. So I kind of want the public to understand that part of it, because oftentimes I think some of these investigations get kind of pushed off to the side and not looked at seriously because they think it's maybe a 16, 17-year-old who's communicating with an 18, 19-year-old.
To help build and bolster the network that deals with these cases, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement hosted the Crimes Against Children Conference in Orlando. With over 800 attendees from across the globe, law enforcement agents, lawyers, judges, and mental health experts had the chance to learn and meet with those involved in the fight against child exploitation.
The internet is not unique to a certain city or county, it's global. And this kind of training like this brings agencies from across the world here to learn the same material, to meet each other and become a much larger network to fight this crime.
It's a fight to bridge the gap between the dark depths of the internet and law enforcement.
It used to be, 15, 20 years ago, maybe a little bit even longer ago, we had to get out of our house to actually have contact with a stranger. But nowadays you can pick up the phone in your pocket right now and have access to thousands of people and millions of people throughout the world.
In 2022, Gainesville police completed 96 total investigations of child exploitation. That number includes 17 arrests from 327 subpoenas and 105 search warrants. As for Kitna, he is currently home in Texas with his family after posting bail. King and his team will still be responsible for the processing of evidence, but the case now turns to the state attorney's office.
Jalen Kitna is facing 3 charges of possession and 2 charges of distribution of child pornography. His next date in Alachua County has not yet been set. We'll be back after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
You can see those clouds are becoming more and more dense. It's been a pretty breezy day out today as well, with gusts up to 25 miles per hour. Right now, temperatures in the mid-70s, and we already saw those first bands of storms moving through and the chance for a few scattered showers coming into our area this evening. As you can see, winds up to 25 miles per hour in Gainesville right now, and those southwesterly winds is what contributed to our warmer temperatures today. Right now we're seeing temperatures in the upper 70s in Gainesville and temperatures in the mid to upper 80s southwest of us. You can see this evening we're going to be seeing mostly cloudy skies with a slight chance of rain this evening, and you'll be waking up to some patchy fog tomorrow morning. Temperatures in the mid-50s overnight tonight, and as we head further south, we'll be warming up to the upper 50s and nearing 60s as you get closer to the villages. That fog will be developing early Friday morning, and you can see it'll be denser in some areas than others, about a 0.1 visibility in Gainesville, so it's going to be rather dense in our area. But by daybreak, we'll be clearing up. The rest of this week, we'll be seeing some lower than usual temperatures than what we've been seeing. Temperatures on the cooler side tomorrow, 74 in Gainesville. And as you can see, the rain moving in this weekend is going to keep our temperatures cooler. This is Saturday. You can see the chance for lots of heavy rain and thunderstorms, and that chance for rain is going to continue later into the evening hours and early Sunday morning. We're going to be seeing up to ½ an inch of rain in Gainesville. Parts of the Panhandle will be seeing 1/4 inch. The rest of this weekend, mostly sunny skies on Friday and about a 30% chance of rain on Saturday, with those temperatures, the high on Saturday at 64 and a higher chance for rain on Sunday with temperatures at almost 80. The rest of this week, you'll be seeing Lots of rain this weekend with that increased chance for thunderstorms on Sunday. We'll be cooling down on Monday with temperatures in the upper 60s, but we'll be back into the upper 70s next week. Back to you.
In a developing story from the entertainment world, Alec Baldwin now faces criminal charges of involuntary manslaughter. A prosecutor announced charges today for an accidental shooting death in New Mexico on the set of a western called Rust. Baldwin and a crew member in the charge of weapons are both charged in the death of the cinematographer. Prosecutors believe Baldwin must have pulled the trigger but was not aware that there was a live round in the gun. An investigation found the armorer was drawing from a box of blanks that actually had several real bullets.
The Gator women's basketball team is set to take on Tennessee.
After losing 5 of their last 6 games, Florida is looking to get back to their winning ways against their SEC foes. WUFT's Bradley Schimmel has more on tonight's Rocky Top Showdown, plus a recap of last night's Gators men's basketball game. One First at 5 returns.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Hey everyone, and welcome to sports. I'm Bradley Schimmel. The Gators women's basketball team is gearing up for a Rocky Top showdown tonight against the Tennessee Volunteers. After losing 5 of their last 6 games, including their last one against Kentucky, Florida is looking to get back to their winning ways against their SEC foes. The Gators forced 23 turnovers in their previous matchup. However, they were also out-rebounded by 18 rebounds in the 77-67 defeat. They'll look to improve this margin as they take on a Tennessee team that is undefeated in SEC play. Tip-off is scheduled for 6:30 p.m. in Knoxville. The Florida men's basketball team lost a nail-biter to Texas A&M last night, 54-52. The Gators shot 2 of 26 from the field in the first half, but were able to spark a roaring comeback in the second half. The game came down to the wire as Myron Jones missed what would have been the game-winning buzzer-beater shot. The Gators are now 3-3 in SEC play and 10-8 overall this season. They'll look to get back to their winning ways this Saturday on the road against Mississippi State. History in the making tonight as the NBA will return to Paris for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. 12 University of Florida students are in Paris for tonight's game, one of them being Shailey Klein, who joins us now. Shailey, what do you have for us?
Reporting from Paris, fans have been eagerly anticipating this Bulls-Pistons matchup all day. Former Florida head coach and current Chicago head coach Billy Donovan looks to lead the Bulls to a win over the Pistons tonight. He is not the only Gator great in attendance, as Joakim Noah is also here at Accor Arena tonight. Tune in tomorrow at First at 5 for the game recap.
Thanks, Shailey. The Santa Fe men's college basketball team defeated Polk County last night, 82-77. The Saints won their second straight game, improving to 11-7 on the season. 5 Saints scored double-digit points, with 20 coming for number 20, Cordell Brown. They look to win their third straight when they take on Daytona State College this Saturday. High school girls volleyball was back in action last night as Buchholz took care of business against Eastside. Jamison Cardwell and Tony Noel Levy-Davis each scored 11 points, as the Bobcats bested the Rams 54-27. This win snaps a 3-game losing streak for Buchholz, and they'll look to keep stacking W's when they host Orange Park next Monday. Taking a look at tonight's girls basketball schedule, Williston is set to host Chiefland, and Hawthorne will travel to North Marion. Meanwhile, Oak Hall will face St. Francis, PK Young at the Rock, and Bradford versus Gainesville. And for boys basketball, Oak Hall is set to take on St. Francis, while Eastside travels to Buchholz. The Gainesville Hurricanes will play at Santa Fe, Chiefland at Williston, and Hawthorne at North Marion. All these games will take place at 7:30. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Lightning stay hot, defeating the Vancouver Canucks 5-2 on Wednesday. The game marked a milestone for Tampa Bay captain Steven Stamkos, who netted the 500th goal of his career. An 11th career hat trick for Stamkos led Tampa Bay to its 5th straight victory. The Bolts, now 29-13 on the season, will next strike at Edmonton, where they will face off with the Oilers on Thursday.
Our last story tonight, a zoo is celebrating one of its residents in a special way. Kansas City Zoo had a gender reveal party for its newborn rhinoceros. The calf's father was given a ball with confetti inside. It knocked the ball around until it broke and pink confetti came out. The zoo is now asking the public to help name the baby rhino.
Before we go, let's take one last look at the weather. Derrah, take us away.
This evening, clouds are going to be mostly cloudy skies, about a 40% chance of rain this evening heading into tonight, and you'll be waking up to a patchy fog tomorrow. The rest of this week, we're going to be seeing temperatures fluctuating quite a bit. On Sunday, we have a high chance that we'll be seeing some thunderstorms and showers, cooling us down into the upper 60s on Monday. Back to you.
Thanks, Derrah. BBC World News is next, and PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But remember, your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.